EmKay, one question haunts and hurts.
Too much to mention.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Top Oz Fandom Podcast, Down the Yellow Brick Pod, in our 7th season. Too much to mention because we are still at it. I'm Tara.
And I'm EmKay, and we are your royal custodians meets Connie and Carla of Oz, preserving and peeling back the curtain on the wonderful world located somewhere over the rainbow and its perseverance in culture.
Join us tossing open our textbooks and grimoires as we fall down fresh new rabbit holes this season.
You may find us hanging out with Elphaba's granddaughter in Gregory Maguire's Another Day series.
Or taking a detour, second star to the right and straight on to morning.
Or chasing Judy Garland-size rainbows.
Or perhaps providing our L. Frank to be exact, analysis of Wicked for Good. Don't be offended.
In addition, we will also be conducting interviews with Ozian delights in our Slipperhood, Good Witch, and Masters Behind the Curtain series. Stay tuned for a magical lineup of guests.
The Wizard of Oz has been with us like so many of you since our earliest of memories, and now in adulthood, it's gotten us through some frightening times. And friends, we have such faith that it will continue to do so.
Off the pod, please say hi to us on Instagram and TikTok, and consider joining our Patreon Pod Squad if you haven't already. Exclusive content and community events and bonus giveaways, oh my! We live to spoil our Patreon fam, and they are the first to receive all official Down the YBP updates, including discounts to live shows, merch, and our annual retreat. Sign up today with a free week trial at any tier. Your support makes the pod's dreams that we dared to dream really do come true.
Now, may the world of Oz continue to be a bewitching escape in bewildering years, nostalgic and nuanced, and keep on changing us for good. To Oz, EmKay.
To Oz. Nate Hallett is a licensed clinical social worker and lifelong Oz fan from Buffalo, New York. Originally introduced to America's favorite fairyland through the classic MGM film, Nate's love of Oz deepened when he discovered the musical and novel of Wicked. For over 20 years, he's dissected the characters and world of Wicked, constantly fascinated by the psychology and relationships that bring the story to life. When not skipping down the yellow brick road, he is the proud owner of a private practice that specializes in trauma therapy and enjoys spending time with his husband, pets, family, and friends. Welcome back, dear listeners. EmKay here, joined as always by my co-host, Tara Tag. Hey, Tara.
Hey, 2026.
We're here. We're in season 7. Seven brides.
Seven brides for seven brothers.
For 7 brothers and of Maracoor.
And of Maracoor.
That's where we are. So welcome back. We are so excited to be back after we had a little brief winter off-roading over on our Patreon with a bunch of fun episodes. But here we go. We are kicking off the season. We are starting with The Brides of Maracoor by Gregory Maguire. So in past seasons, we have covered the Wicked Years books, Wicked, Son of a Witch, Lion Among Men, Out of Oz, which ended in 2011. And now here we are, 2021's The Brides of Maracoor. And we're going to dive into the full series here, the Another Day series. And we are so excited to be joined by a Pod Squad member, a dear friend, a past recordee of the pod. Welcome, Nate.
Hello, everyone. It's
Welcome
so good
back.
to be back again.
We adore
We're
you.
so happy to have you.
So glad you're
Perfect person to kick off this season, and also to be in the land of Gregory Maguire.
here. Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I feel like Nate is always someone who comes in hot with deep cut jokes about Gregory Maguire. So
Nate is like the professor.
Yeah.
Who's like,
You know
I
the
know,
language.
I have the
Yes.
depth of knowledge.
Correct.
Absolutely. It's I've just been in this world for so long. I feel like I do know it in and out at this point. I did read Brides of Maracoor, and I have read the Another Day trilogy. I read them as they came out. So
Amazing.
this was my second time reading Brides after reading it the first time. So it was nice to revisit it. I like to come back after there's been quite a bit of time because I feel like I'm in a different headspace. So this was really good to get back to. I read the physical copy the first time, and this time around I listened to the audiobook, which made me realize I was mispronouncing literally every single character's name incorrectly the first time I read it, but
all these names
good.
are tough.
I loved the audiobook. There were moments where I gasped because she delivered
Oh, yeah.
something so beautifully. And her Helia, the narrator's Helia, is so iconic.
Her Helia are her
introduced in a bit.
Poena and Star voices, like just like little kid voices, were so cute.
Good. She's giving like one woman show on this whole novel, which is great.
Incredible. But that is always really helpful when the names are pronounced.
Yes.
It helps.
Because as I was
Gets in
reading,
your
I was
brain.
like, sure, I'm gonna go with this in my head.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you're gonna like tumble out of
How
your
we
mouth.
pronounced things. I know.
Can't wait to hear it. And I love, Nate, we were talking about this off mic. You were saying that this had kind of a quiet
Release.
entrance into the world of Oz because at this time when this book dropped, Wicked on Broadway just reopened because Broadway was coming back.
Yeah.
The movie is
Oh my
just starting to go
gosh.
into filming, but this book gets released with all this like Wicked resurgence happening, but it is still very quiet. Like I don't even think I clocked that this was connected to the Wicked Years series until much later, and we were in our podcasting go at the time. Like it wasn't like this happened before we weren't doing this. I
No,
don't think
this
I
was
even clocked it.
Yeah. I thought it was earlier. I thought for some reason in my head I was like, oh, this was released closer to when the Wicked Years finished. And
I
I'll
knew
get
it
to
was
it at some
pandemic.
point.
This was his pandemic book.
Wild.
But I want to know, Nate, like how did you know about it?
Yeah.
So I can't even remember how I found out about it. I think I might have been like, I don't know if it was, I was searching something Oz related and it came across it, or I don't know if I just randomly stumbled like on like Gregory's website, because every now and then like I pop back to it. Or even it might have even been like Gregory posted something about it. He was like, by the way, this book is coming out. I have
Wild.
no recollection of it, but I do remember that it was the pandemic. And like shortly after the pandemic, like, well, I mean, we were still in the pandemic, but we weren't in like full lockdown.
Masked.
when
Yeah.
this
We
book
were
came.
masked up and
Yes,
out.
we were
We
still
were out in
masked.
public, but we were
Fall
still wearing...
21, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was just it was
Omicron.
purely accidental
Not
that I.
Omicron.
Oh God.
Delta.
Omicron. Things I don't.
Delta.
Ooh,
Out the
flashbacks.
plane.
Yeah. Ooh, trauma.
I want to rein my my pandemic memories. I just don't want to remember.
Right.
Don't
Yes.
want to remember anything.
Obliviate.
But yeah, no, it was very accidental, which I kind of like. I like that this book didn't have a lot of hype around
love
it
it
when
too.
it came out.
Yeah.
It was a very
Feels like a secret.
understated. It did, and I feel like there's no pressure then because he is like,
Yes.
and like we'll get into this with the history. Like it is him revisiting these characters, but also not in a very direct way, because the only characters that we get from Maguire's Oz proper really are Rain and Iskanari, as well as like other like characters that will be ancillary towards the end. But
Yes.
we'll leave you in suspense as to who those are.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. If you've read this
Incredible.
book, if you haven't read this
Yes.
book, you just kind of want to hear what it's all about.
Yeah. Yay. Well, before we fully dive into the book, just a quick icebreaker for us. So in the Rain chapter page, in my book, it's page 135. Rain is chatting with the brides, and I just was struck by this interchange. So kind of summing it up, Helia, who we love, she says, no one, the eldest the eldest bride. In my mind, they're like witches, but they're
Kind of
brides.
witchy.
Yeah. Helia says, no one invites a lightning strike. No one schedules a plaguey pox. History is brittle, my sisters. It breaks its patterns through accident and contingency, so it's the job of the brides, and indeed of all humans, I suspect, to rally together after the unexpected happens, to set things to rights, if it's possible to do so. Is this your opinion too? And Rain says, I'm not sure I understand the question. And Helios says, is it our job to maintain order, or are we to embrace disorder as somehow organic and natural and part of life? So I liked this quote because I mean, for me, a huge theme of the book is like order versus disorder, loyalty versus freedom, traditions versus breaking traditions. And so that's my question to you. Is it our job to maintain order, or are we to embrace disorder as somehow organic and natural and part of life? Like, what is that sort of bringing up for you today?
I can go
Nate?
first. Yeah, no. So, first off, this is a really great quote to like use as the icebreaker.
I saw it and I was like, oh, take a picture. This is the one.
These quotes give me chills.
I
They
know.
rattle me.
They really do. There's several quotes just from throughout his books that like just really like they still follow me to this day, and like I like they truly are like lighthouses in dark times because they are very good reminders of like just life in general and how life
Yes,
is.
agreed.
Yeah.
Good
But so
tattoos as well.
I think it is our job to kind of embrace the disorder. This is something that I frequently actually talk about with therapy clients. I talk about basically like how like we absolutely like we're all walking through life with this idea of how life quote unquote should be or how it must be. It has to be this way. And I think a lot of us approach life with a rigidity, even if we're not fully aware of the rigidity of it. We don't realize how rigid it is until it's challenged. But I do talk a lot with folks about this idea of like, well, there's life as we want it to be, but then there's life as it is. And ultimately, we have a choice to either be willing to accept life as it is. And that doesn't mean passivity. That doesn't mean like, oh, life's chaotic, there's nothing I can do, like I'm just going to throw up my hands or whatever and like I'm just going to completely give in. Because I talk all the time about how acceptance is not passivity. It's not giving in. Acceptance is just choosing to acknowledge what you have in front of you. It's seeing things for what they are, not just how you want them to be. And your choice comes in where you decide, okay, well, this is what I'm dealing with. How am I going to choose to deal with it? I can fall apart. I can stay miserable, or I can abandon my willfulness and my, like, this isn't fair, this isn't right. I can abandon that willfulness and I can lean into the, like, okay, what is the lesson for me to learn here? Or what can I do differently so that I'm not stuck in the same pattern of chaos and discord? So that's my thought. I think we embrace the chaos.
I think if you're not embracing chaos, you're not embracing
great.
life. Life is chaos.
Life being a human is chaotic.
It's chaotic, and there's such beauty and magic in it. And of course, there's like your hair is being raised in the ways that you don't want them to be raised. You know, you're going to be put in places you don't want to be put in. Oh, I love what you shared, Nate. I feel
So
like
well
what I'm
said.
being reminded of is a class that I taught. Forget what we called it. So my husband and I, we taught a master class about 10 years ago. We'd go to college theater programs and help younger actors understand the life that they were about to jump into, not just the like audition grind of it all, but like the lifestyle that it takes to maintain a musical theater career in a city like New York City. And one of the things, like a pillar that we had as something that like it is of your utmost importance to do is to give yourself batting practice of curveballs. Like that is something that you have to be open to doing because especially in actor land, like you're thrown auditions last minute. And if you're like, panicked and also like it doesn't fall in any order. There's no order. It's like continued chaos coming at you. So how do you embrace these as opportunities and like don't put so much grip on them, let them be just what they are for the time being. So that was such a big part of like what we were hoping to inspire in these kids that they can't control it all. So just don't even try. Just see each thing as like this is an opportunity for this day right now and try to not think too far out. So to get back to this whole question of like, do we embrace disorder or order? I think when order is great is when we all realize we're on the same page and we want to get something done. We need order. And I'm like, yes, great. Let's create, like, that's how we get things done is creating order. But I think great order comes from responding to disorder in a way that sees all the people involved and is not harming any others, you know? I will always embrace order that does not harm another person because order is necessary too. You have to keep moving forward. And if you're without order, you're without maps, you know? You're just kind of like an Alice in Wonderland a little bit more, as opposed to a Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz who has a yellow brick road, who has something to follow. So yeah, I think like obviously we want to know like our bodies are like trying to know everything and like make us feel safe and all those things. But life, like you could walk outside right now. I mean, I live right by LaGuardia, not to bring up unfortunate, horrifying news that recently happened, but I live by LaGuardia. There was a recent horrible collision of a truck and a plane that just should not have happened. And a lot of this is the result of overworked staff, aviation cuts, TSA, all of that, all linking back to our president in charge right now. But like all of like that, all I think about is those people's lives are completely different now just because they boarded a Canadian flight, like to come to New York City, a routine landing, their lives will never be the same. And they could be in such like, I hate that this happened to me, or, you know, like it's just like you get to choose the next steps. That obviously should never happen to anyone, but it does. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It just does. I could walk outside today and like fall and break my leg, you know, like anything could happen. And that's life. So not embracing the things, the disorder, the chaos, the dysfunction, whatever, we're not going to find the order that we need. Am I making sense? I'm just like,
Yes.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Because I also tell people that you're seeking change in your life. Well, you have to accept first. You have to accept what you're starting off with. And so, like, when I say accept, I don't mean, like, again, like, I'll go back to what I was saying. It doesn't mean passivity. Like, I can think about, like, obviously what's happening in our country right now. When I'm saying things like, we have to accept what's happening in the country right now, that doesn't mean like, okay, we take a back seat and we don't do anything. No, you have to accept that this is the situation that we're in.
This is what's happening.
And how are you going to choose to respond to it?
Right.
Are you going to do something? Are you going to say something? Are you going to speak out? While also acknowledging, okay, this is the system I'm working with. I can't interact with the system with the way that I want it to be. I have to interact with the system the way that it is in order for it to be truly effective.
Correct.
I believe that's the case. Because you can try it the other way. I don't know how effective that will end up being.
We're all playing games. We're all playing games, trying to figure things out. Like, even I'm just thinking of the meeting that happens later in this book between one of our characters and the great Mara, who is essentially the Wizard of Oz character in this book. And how he's like just so taken aback by how he's like, what he's like, honestly, you could feel Lyricles. Is it Lyricles? Am I saying his name right?
Lucicles.
Gosh, okay, great.
Oh, I called
like,
them Lucicles.
Not Lucicles.
I
Lucicles
called
the musical.
them Lucicles.
You want to think Lucicles
Lucicles?
like Heracles,
Lucicles.
like that.
Yes, there's Greek
That makes
mythology
sense.
embedded in a lot of
I
these
said popsicle Lucicle.
popsicles.
Lucicle the
God.
musical, the Lucicle.
But Lucicles is like feeling like, what makes this man great? Like, why are we allowing what this man says to be what we all follow? Like, he's starting to have those moments of, wait, I'm questioning everything I've done with my life.
Cassie too. Cassie also has that moment on the island as well when after rain comes and things get real.
Cassie's, I think, my favorite character, just with
Young
what she's
Cosette.
going through. Young Cosette.
Young Cosette.
That's why I was like, is that like a play on Young Cosette, the name Cassie? But
Well, I know her full name is
Acaciana.
Acaciana, which is
Acaciana.
really pretty.
Beautiful. I was like, Acaciana Grande.
Acaciana, Italy, like
Acaciana Grande.
Acaciana Grande.
It's a gorgeous name.
Ari will play
considering it.
her in the film. Yeah,
Considering it
she's
for the firstborn.
Acaciana.
It's a great name.
I've never heard it.
Acaciana.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Did he make it up? I'm sure.
He mentioned
Man
in
with
one of
names.
his interviews for this book, like, he's very, like, he picks names for very specific reasons, but he will not explain usually why the name is the name.
Because he doesn't want to. He's like,
I
I don't know.
texted, this is a side note. I texted Tara yesterday or the day before. How do you say her name? Melina? Elphaba's
Melina.
mom.
We said it,
Gregory
Melina.
says Melina.
Melina.
I still say Melina, because that's just...
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how it is in the
in
audiobook. That's how I've heard it for years. I can't change it.
Melina. I think Melina. Gregory, you're wrong. No, just kidding. In nursing school, we were studying the gastrointestinal tract, and literally Melina is when
Melina.
your poop is black and tarry. It's like a medical
Did Gregory
thing.
know that?
So I was like, did Gregory but I don't see a connection.
But the amount of research this man does for his books.
Maybe.
he
Yeah,
had-
maybe.
I mean, this was also like in the pre-Google days that he wrote Wicked, so maybe
It's
like
very
it
true.
wasn't just
That
a
could have
quick
been
Google search
elusive
or
at
whatever.
this
Right.
point. It was a quick
Right.
Google search. And who would know
Yeah.
that besides
Only myself
Nurse
and
EmKay.
nurses. But anyway, to
okay.
wrap this up, I loved both of your answers. And wow, I mean, this is why I just love talking about Gregory's books, because I feel like we could take one quote and just go down a full rabbit hole. Two thoughts. Part of this quote made me think also of just like accepting that it's probably something's going to go wrong, and not maybe in a bad way, but like even on my commute being like, the train might be late, what am I going to do? Like accepting that no matter how hard I try, life is just, curveballs are going to be thrown, as we said. And so one of my favorite little tools that I've learned, it's kind of dorky, but it's called Whoop. And let's say you want to like have a conversation with someone, or you're like gonna do something challenging. You write out Whoop, and it's an acronym. W stands for wish. Like, what's my wish? My wish is to, I don't know, what's a wish? What's a wish?
what do you want right now, MK?
Yeah, my wish is to spend $100 on groceries this month, whatever it might be. You know, let's say you have like a budget or something. The outcome is, here's the
It's
outcome.
really
Like,
cheap, Good freaking luck.
no, it's just, I haven't
Where
had
are you
enough
shopping?
coffee. I know that's not what's happening.
You're
Okay, for the
rationing at
week.
Aldi.
For the week?
Okay.
But that feels like
Week.
maybe too much. I don't know.
That is
Go with
maybe
another example. My wish is to run a mile today, okay? The outcome is I will have run the mile. I will have done it in 11 minutes, 10 minutes,
But
whatever
I'm
it
still
might
on your
be.
groceries. How are you
Don't
nourishing
worry
yourself?
about the groceries.
Just kidding. I'm being such a butt.
You can tell that I'm stressed about groceries because I'm horrible at grocery shopping. So wish, outcome, and then there's the second O, which is the obstacle. So the obstacle is I'm tired today. I'm super busy. I don't want to run the mile.
raining.
It's raining. XYZ. My ankle hurts. Like
I could come up with
whatever-
tons.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
come up with a million to not run this mile. And then the P is plan. Like, okay, so I'm going to do it at 7 a.m. before my day starts, or whatever it is, or I'm going to have a really cool breakfast after. So that's just a small scale. And that made me think of that, of like, if you put your mindset into that, of like, it might not go perfect, and there's probably going to be some chaos and disorder. How am I going to go about it? And like, as you both said, accept this. So that's my little nerdy thing that I do. And then second, in nursing school, we have to do all of these, like, they're called sim labs, where it's just like, hey, here's a patient, here's what's happening. It's not a real patient. It's literally a dummy. Here's what's happening, XYZ. What are you going to do? Come up with like your action steps with your team. And to my friend Garrett, who was on this pod before, for some
Wicked cast
reason,
member.
former Wicked cast member, we like got all this information, all this stuff's going wrong with this patient, and all I said was like, okay, this is happening. And he laughed so hard. He was like, that's your first response. I was like, this is happening. And now we say that to each other all the time, like, okay, this is happening.
This is happening.
And that's just sort of how I like to approach kind of what you both said, of like, all right, this is happening. What are we going to do
Can't be
next?
helped now, to
That's-
quote.
That is my
In
that is my
return,
version
God.
of the this is happening is
This is
can't
happening.
be helped now.
Jack. It can't
Can't
be
be
helped
helped
now.
now.
No.
Can't be helped, TikTok.
As you're falling to your
Yeah.
eventual splattering on the ground.
Like,
She literally
what
yells
else am
that.
I gonna do? I can't pretend this isn't happening. This is happening.
No, to
I
pretend
mean, you could
it's not.
pretend, you'd just be extremely
guess I could.
frustrated and angry and
Correct.
bitter all of the
Yes.
time. And that's kind of
Yes.
that's the emotional signal of like,
Internally
hey,
and
Yes.
are you resisting reality right now? Are you?
Correct.
Well, resisting
Yeah.
reality, I feel like, oh God, if you choose to do that, you're just setting yourself up to not have joyful experiences. Enter
Which is
your
what
Yeah.
Iskanari is going to be warning Rain about later
He's
in
the
this book.
best. He's so gentle about it too, but he is there to be like, hey, girl,
Hey,
I
think
think
about the
this is a
future.
cult. We gotta go.
Get out!
Gotta
Get
go.
out! I don't want to stay here.
Listen, we all need an Iskanari to be like, I think you're in a cult.
Hey,
I
honey.
think it's time.
I think we girl bossed a little too close to the sun.
The sun.
Like, yep, we've landed on an island of women who
I
are
love
content
it.
with injuring themselves daily, which we're going to get into in a
Scraping
moment.
those feet, which is my least favorite part. But
It made me
anyway,
think of the scraped faces in Out of Oz. The scraping, the word scrape. The word scrape. Like when Gregory uses this, it just feels like such a violation of the body.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Well, thank you both for those responses. We are back, baby. Let's get into it. The music will play. See you on the other side.
Cue.
Okay, here we are. We're going to dive into this book.
Yes.
Lucical.
We were just dancing to the music that played, you know?
I think we should just read off our bullets, go through.
Right now?
Are we feeling ready?
All
Just
of
like
them together?
I'm
Okay.
ready. It is 9:42 on a Wednesday morning. I'm ready.
I
Okay.
think, let's just get a full
Set the
little set the scene. Where
Then
are
we'll
we?
rewind and fast forward.
And then we'll
play.
rewind, fast forward, skip ahead, go back 10 seconds,
Channel
all that
surf.
good stuff. Yes.
Land
then
on
we'll
the
get into
channel.
all
Of the Virgil Virgins. What are they called? Vigil Virgins?
Vestal Virgins.
Vestal Virgins. I can't remember.
the Vigil Virgins.
The Vigil Virgins.
I mean, they're holding vigil in
Virgil.
a sense.
Yeah. It all
I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
misname things like up the wazoo
No, myself.
today.
Myself as
Please
well.
Yell and correct. Just insert
We'll
corrections.
just scream
as
at
we
you.
go. Because I'm
The,
like the minor
Elaine Stritch,
adjustment.
wrong.
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 Wrong. No,
Oh
please do.
my god. Okay, well, I did bullets, but I think it's just a long paragraph. It's not really like 3
Same.
bullets. Okay, so here we go. So we each broke up our sections. I am in part 1, the Brides of Maracoor and Lucicles.
Good job.
And then I believe Nate picks up the torch from there. So here we go. On an island out in the middle of the sea, far from Oz, resides a community of women, 7 to be exact, known as the Brides of Maracoor. Out on Maracoor Spot, they are committed to an ancient tradition in which they are the chosen 7, obligated to live secluded on this island for the entirety of their lives until one of them dies, soon to be replaced by a baby who will then join the group of 7. Lucicles, the overseer, makes a journey every so often out to Maracoor Spot to report back that the brides are all alive, what they're up to, and if they're not all alive, to arrange for a replacement to join their ranks. On this specific trip, he arrives to see 8 brides. Joined in their company is a green-skinned girl called Rain, as well as the goose Iskanari, who speaks. All of the brides are unsure of what to do about her sudden and unexpected arrival, and are also in disagreement with each other, though the youngest bride, Cassie, is deeply intrigued by this new arrival. Lucicles decides to leave the island, not taking Rain with him, as he's eager to get home, end his journey, and see his family. Wife, Owena?
Yes.
Elena.
Owena. Yep.
Who he
Owena?
cheated on.
He cheated, yeah. Lucicles is not a perfect
I I'm excited for him, though. We'll get into him because I think my prediction is he will have the biggest arc over these 3 books. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
He's a journey. Great.
Wife, Owena.
You got it, Owena.
His 2 daughters and his prized son, Leorix.
Yep.
Leorix.
You're doing great.
Also a solid name, by the way.
Leorix. Yeah. Upon the ship's arrival in the harbor, his town appears decimated and destroyed, with only a few wanderers toiling about the land. He investigates and finds a note in his home from Owena saying they escaped to her mother-in-law's house outside the city. Luciles and his dog Kerr set out to make their way to his family, feeling eager to reunite and uneasy about what transpired at the end of his journey.
And he's avoiding his duty.
Mm-hmm.
He's not reporting. Yes,
Obviously,
he's like, you know what? There's this
would.
emergency happening. Where's my family? Oh my goodness. I'm going to just go find them. Because I'm not sure how long he's been doing this. It's been, and I think it's been a while. It's also been his like ancestors did this before him. So there's this like order of you go on the journey, you come back, you report. A couple months maybe go by, and then you do it again. Like it's every single year or year and a half, 2 years, something.
But does he do nothing for the rest of the year? Because solid work. If he's off for the rest of the year,
he gets paid for that chunk.
It's like being a Rockette. It's like you're on for the holiday season.
And then you're done. Luciles is the Rockette of Oz, okay? Or of Maracoor.
Not saying that those girls do not kick their legs elsewhere.
They don't do anything.
It's hard work, but that's why...
It's hard work while you're at it, and it does pay for more than the
it.
time of when you're in it, which is great.
Yes, exactly.
Is he like an adjunct professor?
He's giving professor vibes.
He's giving I follow rules.
Can he like distribute his salary throughout the year, or does he only get it during the months he's working? Does he have to like make it stretch when he's not? Like these are the questions. Get Gregory back on the pod. These are the things.
Tell us about his budgeting strategy.
Gregory's just gonna be like, I don't know, make up your own theory.
Okay,
I'm tired.
No more questions. Okay.
Alrighty. So now we'll move on to my section. So I have the sections Rain, Cassie, Leorix, and Fist of Mara. So
oh my gosh, I gave you a lot.
Fist of Mara.
They were short chunks, so
they were short.
I have a bullet for kind of each section, so I have 4 bullets.
Fantastic.
All right. So bullet point number 1: an amnesiac Rain.
What are you doing to us?
That's hard.
I had real faith in myself.
The Animaniacs.
I was like, what word? Say it one more time.
In the Throp family tradition, struggles to remember her past before arriving at Maracoor's spot. She feels responsible for the storm that brought her there, but decides to keep her amnesia a secret, even from Iskanari, who believes that they should bide their time before attempting to flee. Let Rain get her strength back.
Right.
Bullet point number 2. The brides disagree over what to do about Rain. Mirka, the second most senior bride, is adamant that she should leave, while Helia, the senior bride, advocates for her to stay. Attempts to be democratic fail when a tie occurs, and Cassie refuses to vote, having bonded with Rain and citing that she is too young to vote. Helia secretly recruits Cassie to acquire and hide the hidden key to the vessel that holds the Fist of Mara, a sacred amulet with mysterious powers. Helia voices her mistrust of Mirka, going so far as to suspect her of plotting to do away with Rain. She sends Cassie on various missions to collect items that could be used to harm Rain, while also describing how one could go about using the Fist of Mara's power to kill someone. Bullet point number 3.
Hypothetically.
Just
like,
this could happen if you did it this way.
Right.
Bullet point number 3. Luciles sets out for his mother-in-law's farm in the country. Along the way, he sees how the invasion has negatively affected the people of Maracoor. He also witnesses mythological creatures in the forest, though struggles to believe in them. He arrives at the farm, receiving a frosty reception from his wife Owena, who resents him for being gone during the invasion. His daughters, Poena and Star, sense his preference for his son, Leorix, who is currently recovering from a wolf attack that he protected the family from on their way to the farm.
Oh, I love this
Lucicles
one.
feels his family losing respect for him and proves to be useless on the farm. The women don't really let him do anything while he's there. They're tending to Leorix, they're doing the farm work. He's just kind of there. While picnicking with his daughters, he spots Relexis Key, the consort to the Great Mara, who is their lady god that they all worship, who silently commands that he returns to the capital. He announces this to Owaina, who refuses to let him go, only to hear that recently revived Leorix plans to go with his father. Lucicles suspects that his son has also received a silent command, and the pair leave before dawn. Bullet point number 4. Back on Maracoor's spot, Rain reveals her amnesia to Iskanari when he confronts her about a plan. She seems ambivalent about leaving, possibly wanting to avoid the life that she can't remember. Drama unfolds when Mirka, the picture of health, suddenly falls ill and dies. The brides coordinate a funeral pyre to burn the body, and Cassie is devastated. Healy attempts to comfort her, while also insinuating that Cassie played a role in Mirka's death. If you played a role in Mirka's death, I don't want to hear about it, she says to her.
Crazy.
Freaking Healy.
Due to Rain's indecisiveness, Iskanari decides that he will fly to Maracoor Biding to secure a boat
This is
to
the
come for
cult
Rain.
moment.
And
Earlier
he
in the
leaves
cult.
her behind. What was that?
This is the cult moment.
Oh yeah,
he's
that's
like,
the cult
I'm
moment.
We're
done.
He's
gonna
like,
be
I
in a
think this
cult."
is a call. I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna
out.
get you a boat just in case. And he leaves her behind. Shortly after, roars are heard on the island, frightening the brides. Helia attempts to find out more about Rain, and Rain tries to find out more about Helia and the brides. Helia reveals that she wants Rain to be the new senior bride, which Rain resists. While tending to the fire, Diani appears. The Diani is a bad omen, and this dissolves the cordiality between Helia and Rain. The green girl is left wondering why the Diani would present itself to them. End scene.
So
So
well
good.
done.
So good. That's like the big turning point. The death of
Yeah.
Mirka is a huge moment.
Mirka.
Now it's the fallout from the death of Mirka. What's going to happen? Who's going to be accused? Okay, 2 giant bullets coming your way.
Let's
First bullet,
do it.
Return of the Pious Enterprises. Lucicles, Leorix, and Kerr the dog, don't forget him, return to Maracoor Crown, and Leorix insists on being present at Lucicles' meeting at the House of Balances with the great Vassal, spelt with a B in front of it. Very interesting. AKA,
Yeah.
like we said, the wizard, the kind of sham frontman of Maracoor himself, where he first discusses with the supervisor the strange set of developments. But is accused quite acidically of taking a holiday upon his return before heading to the court to meet the pudgy Vassal and sputteringly deliver his report, then direct it to return to Maracoor's spot to detain the green apparatus and remove the offending article, aka the Fist of Mara, the vessel, the amulet, all these different names. AKA, bring him the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. That version of this, with Leorix, his son, in tow. Did you follow all that? Because that was a lot of meetings. On the island, Rain realizes she's missing someone she cannot yet remember. As Skrilla, obsessed. Am I saying her name right? Skrilla,
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
obsessed.
yeah.
Skrilla, right?
Skrilla, yeah.
Gorilla.
Gorilla lets her suspicions of Rain. She's the second to youngest one, and she's really spicy. She lets her suspicions of Rain equaling trouble be known to the brides at the hearth. Rain is now a part of the mourning ceremony, but she's not mutilating her feet. She will not do that. She refuses. When the pious enterprise is spotted and Lucicles and Leorix descend upon the shores to remove the upset to tradition, being Rain, as well as the vessel. Helia protests and shares the unexpected death of Mirka. Skrilla, the chaos agent of the brides, reveals she didn't naturally die. She was murdered, accusing Cassie, who is stunned, with Rain being the only one to remind everyone she is a child. Lucicles After gathering evidence, deciding to take the accused Kasi with him, as well as Rain. Rain becomes parental, a sister to Kasi as they ship off into the unknown of Maracoor Abiding's sentencing. Kasi concocting an infection for Leorix, and Rain a distaste and a division with Lucicles. The House of Balances, bullet number 2. The pious enterprise arrives at Maracoor Harbor, and Lucicles and Leorix are refused in returning to the home hearth
Correct.
just yet, heading immediately to a hearing where Lucicles testifies what he knows, and Leorix begins to split from his father. He is not liking how his father is handling any of this, wanting to protect his new friend Kasi, who has been now locked up with Rain in also a woman's prison, but yet they are children. Rain recalls Tip in an exchange about friendship with Kasi as Lucicles and Leorix, El Albine, return to Piney Quarter in a truce of silence. Reunited with their family, Rain and Kasi continue to get on each other's nerves in confinement, spotting a monkey in their window, a bit of foreshadowing, perhaps. Lucicles meets with the vassal a day before the trial in an unlikely, more informal salon, the great vassal calling him a friend and sharing more about the land attack being a Skeedian fleet, which is totally feeling like a play on the Skeedlers and the Scoodlers of Bamian
Yeah.
Oz, which is really fun, who used the unusual weather they were having to their advantage, complimenting Lucicles on the retrieval of the amulet, which he learns. This is what Lucicles learns that kind of stops everything in his tracks for him. This vessel renders women and girls barren when they are near it. Big moment. It destroyed a whole population centuries ago in its discovery. To Lucicles' horror, his stomach turning as he realizes he never quite knew what the role he was serving as the minor adjutant all these years was doing. The great Mara in human form now wanting Lucicles to corroborate that Rain was in league with the Skeeds, though there is no proof of it. Threatening Lucicles with making his own young daughter Star a bride. Perhaps if he doesn't do
That
what he
was,
asked.
ooh,
Oh,
that
this
gives
scene
me
is
chills.
disgusting and chilling.
Yeah.
Damning her to a life where her reproductive organs are not treated as her own. The day of the hearing, Rain miraculously remembers her abandonment of the Grimoire, this sacred tome, into the ocean, and surprise visitors attend court. The Brides of Maracoor, minus Celia, led by Iskanari. And the proceedings begin. Rain, the best defense attorney a child bride could ask for.
Yes.
Lucicles, a disappointment to his son. As Kasi is determined guilty in the charge of murder, the brides all sobbing, all pleas are ignored at court. Leorix offering to take Kasi's place, Hunger Games style, I volunteer as tribute, which is rebuffed to Leoricles' relief. He just wants to protect his son, protect his family. That's all he cares about. Oh, the court tumbles into mayhem as the flying monkeys have landed. Hello, welcome.
Hey.
And Kasi and Rain are locked up, though Rain's hope is restored as her memories are also restored. The flying monkeys staging a rescue attempt with Iskanari at the helm yet again. Both girls jumping to their freedom, and Rain remembering Oz, her no place like home. Helia continues the ritual we now know to mean nothing back on the island. Leorix and Lucicles head home, fractured as father and son beyond repair. And the flying monkeys are liberating both Rain and the convicted Kasi to new lives. And the brides return to the only home they know, a home in exile. Finite.
The only place for an exile, the only home for an exile is exile. I was like,
Thanks, Greg.
good job, y'all. That was well done. He packs a
So
lot
good.
into, I mean, this book is on the shorter end for in comparison to some of his books.
Can I share something on that?
Yeah, tell us.
So, in an interview I listened to of Gregory on the Writer's Bone podcast, specifically discussing this book in particular, that question comes up like, hey, this is reading a little bit shorter in chapter than your prior works. And like, we have to remember there's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Time has
10
changed since he
years.
wrote Wicked. Our attention spans have diminished, have shrunk. They're pretty much kaput.
They're
So
gone.
he wrote with this intention to write shorter chapters because he has to fight fire with fire. He knows that our waning attention spans will take us to scroll on our phone pretty quickly, if not keeping like things a little bit more segmented. So this
Yeah.
was done on purpose. This was an adjustment of Gregory to the times that we now live in.
Well, that makes me sad for myself because I was like, this is a great length.
I know. I was like, great. I love it.
I was like, this is easy.
Well, because I think Wicked is a similar page count, but like definitely like the typeset is much
It's
more
smaller and the
dense. It's
chapters.
smaller. He does the chapter breakup thing in Wicked, but like it's also just like different where it's like
Yeah.
it's formatted different.
Yeah.
But
and this
similar
season is like a smaller length.
yes.
So
Yeah.
yes, like there's so much space.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like
Blank
page.
pages, unblemished pages that are left in here too, which
Yep.
I love.
Yes.
Yep. He does have his author's note where he says, well into the third or fourth draft of this novel, I came upon a review of a terrific volume called Drawing Down the Moon, Magic in the Greco-Roman World from 2019. The author
cool.
is Radcliffe, coolest name ever. The author is Radcliffe G. Edmonds III. The book didn't so much inspire me as confirm some of my instincts about the more domestic magics implied in odes and epics from our shared classical past.
And I think that's what's interesting about this book is that it's Gregory creating kind of his own world for us and like showing us like, hey, like, okay, like I'm going to create my own just fantasy land, which is very different from his other books because a lot of his other books for adults are based in like the fairy tales that we know. So it's either like an existing world like Oz or it's resetting the fairy tales in very much rooted in like their country, like countries of origin or nearby. Like Mirror Mirror is set in Tuscany. Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister is set in the Netherlands. So this is really like a different foray for him of like he really kind of gets to build the world from the ground up. But he does take a lot of inspiration from Greek mythology. He shared in an interview that his birth mother, who died when giving birth to him, she was Greek. And I actually read elsewhere that his name, Gregory, is her maiden name, or it's based off of her maiden name. So this was like a culture that like he really didn't explore as a child because he was raised by his Irish father. But as an adult, like he goes to Greece every year now, and he's really like he started to learn the language. He has a lot of friends who live in Greece now, and he pulled a lot from that, as you can tell by like the names, the description of the architecture,
Helia
and
is, like,
just the overall flora fauna. It feels very Grecian, but also still feels very like specifically like ancient Greece.
It's like an Aussie and Olympus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slash like Athens, because there is a magical element to it.
And that's what, from this description of the book that he said kind of like confirmed and he used as sort of research. From prayer and divination to astrology and alchemy, Edmonds journeys through all manner of ancient magical rituals and paraphernalia, ancient tablets, spellbooks, bindings and curses, love charms and healing potions and amulets and talismans. So I think that's why I'm like, oh, they're witches, because it's like, it's this ancient...
We're all the same thing.
Yeah,
We're just
magic
choose
that
different titles. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like brides, witches. I feel like there's
Woman.
similarities. Woman.
You know?
Woman.
Yeah, I love how he sets up the world because we're not in Oz.
No.
We're not in Oz.
Yeah.
We are out of Oz. I could share a little bit about some of what Gregory has shared specifically about this book and his writing of it.
Please.
So this was written during the 2020 lockdown to be released, like we said, in
That makes
2021.
sense.
Also, just a reminder, ABC and Hulu have the rights to this. So just putting that out there.
Huh.
He stated that on this podcast, The Writer's Bone, that they could do a live action, I think, of the Wicked years.
They can.
And of
As long as it's not a musical, they can do it.
there's probably so many things in fine print that we will not know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to say that because I think that's really cool. And this is the quote that I'm obsessed with that he shares that kind of just grounds this whole thing. Maguire felt that he had no other responsibility but to follow Rain in his little author's rowboat and see what happened to her. That was his pandemic. That
Yeah.
was his lockdown. He reiterates in this interview that he grew up, his childhood, he had like the library was his treasure trove. It was his adventure land. And you remember Chronicles of Narnia just like blowing up his mind that there's magic interlacing the events of this story. And it was a longer book, not just like a small fairy tale. This whole Another Day series was spun 10 years after the Wicked series, 10 years after he left a wobbling Rain in her late teenage years. He wanted to at first let her have her own private life away from us, let her to be on her grandmother's broom, which we all know who her grandmother is. Like honestly, she's flying over what slayed her grandmother too. Like she's
Yeah.
flying
Water.
over water,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like that visual is also quite like defiant because that's something that completely, took out her. It was her grandmother's enemy.
Yeah.
He talks about how he saw writing this as like midwifery. He had 4 years. Like he just had to kind of like guide this out of him. This idea had happened 4 years prior to him fully investing in it. He let it go initially, this island of women, because it resembled The Handmaid's Tale pretty
It's
immensely.
giving
And the
Handmaid's
TV
Tale.
series
afraid.
had just come out,
Just come out.
so it was
Yeah.
very much at the
Yeah.
forefront of everybody's mind. Had the
He
TV
didn't wanna
series not
be
come out,
accused of
Yeah.
Like,
copying
let's hop on this
Margaret
bandwagon.
Atwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, like being on the coattails of this
Sure.
all. So he kind of put it to rest. And he talks about in this midwifery process, he said that 10% of his work effort is to the first like 10 pages. Like honestly, like that's what takes
Wow.
up everything. And he starts all of his new novels in hand on open paper. He tries really hard to get the tone, to hear the characters. And then once he feels like the tone is locked down, he translates to computer. He doesn't plot anything out. He lets everything happen organically. He has a very
Fascinating.
visual eye. He talks about seeing the world as a set designer. He wants to root the reader in a really concrete world. So he describes things like how the light is even hitting and reflecting within his worlds, and the architecture, the sounds, the smells, all of that is super important to him. And he just needed something once like everything started to close down. He's like, I need to go somewhere wild and cryptic. And he wanted everyone, once they were done finishing Brides of Maracoor, to feel like I have an appetite to read the next one. Like he really wanted to make this like a hungry, like I need to
do.
know. Then in an interview with the Concord Players in Massachusetts, which was on a stage, you can watch this all on YouTube, he talks about how this in this book he realizes how helpful it was for him to have a daughter. He brought this up on our podcast. He was worried about his own daughter, and that made him worry about Rain in the
Yes.
pandemic. And he said like it was so helpful to have just like women like these women who raised him is the reason this book exists. He has been raised by sisters, nuns, librarians, teachers, doctors. And he said that all these women that he has known in his life have to be strong in a world that really only appreciates men. And he wanted to really explore characters who are living with the errors they have made, not perfect specimens by any means.
choices.
He really wanted the like initial concept, the island of women, no experience of childbirth, no experience with sex with any gender. He really wanted to just like root that to be who these women were. They've been deprived of knowledge. Yes, he had the Greek influences. He said Helia was the first character to really growl at him and demand her speech to be like written.
That makes sense.
And he reminded us in this interview that fairy tales have rescued him. That's like what he's, I think, attempting to do a little bit in this. So that's just on Gregory at the time in 2021. Like we said, like Wicked is like in a really cool place too. In this moment of time, he had gone to see Wicked. He said there was nothing like seeing Wicked reopen. That was the craziest experience of his life, he says.
It was
So-
for me, and I wasn't even there.
I wasn't even there. I lived it through the Insta stories.
The Instagram. It's good
Yeah.
to see me, isn't it? At
Oh
10
my
minutes
God,
o'clock.
he said that everything was wild. Like every
And-
moment had insane applause. Just the
Electricity.
screaming and
Yeah.
whooping. Electricity, yeah. So he's
Oh,
like,
I'm
I
so glad
think
he
in a
was
really
there.
interesting place. And like you said, Nate, like I don't think he
Yeah.
feels pressure with this book.
He doesn't,
It was
because I
his
think
rescue.
especially this book is so detached from Oz and Wicked for the most part, because again, and he also,
Yeah.
it's very convenient that Rain has amnesia because you don't actually have to really know Rain's story before you read this book.
No.
You
Should we
don't
talk
really,
about her story, you think?
yeah, like just kind of the
We
like
should
the
Yeah.
highlights.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, to catch
so
us all back up because it isn't mentioned.
Ah.
You don't need to know. Like that is
you
the
You
don't
beauty
really
of
need to
this.
could
know.
just pick this up and be like, cool.
Yeah.
I did want to
Who's
say,
this
it
green
makes
girl?
sense. It makes sense that he, like, I can feel someone in a pandemic writing this book because they're literally on an island alone, and then the town is decimated and destroyed. Like, it kind of is a more intense version of what
They're
we
in quarantine
experienced.
essentially. They're
They
stuck in
really
their
are.
houses.
Permanent
They don't
quarantine.
want, they're suspicious of anybody who's walking
Yes.
through of like, where did you come from? Like, what are you here for?
Yeah.
And like, kind of like
This makes
hurry
sense to
along.
me. Yeah.
There's all
And I
these
think
notions
the
of prisons too, like the prisons that
yeah.
we are put in without knowing, with knowing.
Uh-huh. And I think the lack of pressure too is I love that you reminded me that he said Rain connecting to his own daughter. Like it feels like
Yes.
a personal mission. Like I'm just gonna follow this character outside
I
of
want to make sure she's
this
good.
other
Yeah.
world. And I want to see, what's going on. So
Do you ever wonder what happens to all that stuff when a favorite show closes on Broadway?
Like the sets, costumes, and props?
Yeah, and even the Marley on the floor.
Well, everything is usually struck, disassembled, and packed away to make space for whatever the next show is. The theater becoming an empty, bare space again, almost like it never happened.
Right, theater comes and goes so quickly. But what if you could take home a little piece of that favorite show's magic with you? Your own little piece of theater history.
As the Pink Ladies say, tell me more, tell me more.
I will. Scenery Bags hand makes bags and accessories out of retired theater sets. And 10% of proceeds are donated to introduce students to theater through TDF. We love a good cause even more. You can snag pieces from Wicked, Beetlejuice, Kinky Boots, Dear Evan Hansen, and many more.
What do you mean, wicked?
Retired Glinda bubble dresses just may be made into necklaces. Boo!
That's amazing!
Last year, they even had ornaments made out of Dorothy's bedroom wallpaper from the MSG tour.
Take all my money, take it!
We can't urge you more to check out Scenery Bags today to purchase perhaps the most tangible way to feel close to Broadway, especially your favorites that are long gone.
Visit scenerybags.com, linked in show notes.
It doesn't have to be fall for it to be flannel season.
And there are no flannels we wear more than Cakeworthy's Wicked Collaboration Collection, dropping new for good designs right in time for us to get cozy in the movie theaters or by a fireside this holiday season.
Outside of their pink and purple Glinda, green Elphaba, and even blue Shiz themed flannels, they have drop sleeve t-shirts that declare the wizard sees everything. Oh, so big brother. T-shirt dresses featuring one of my favorite Madame Morrible designs. Capital A animal activist worthy quilted jackets. Oz map blankets. Currently, there's one on my couch right now. Bed sheets and more.
Cakeworthy truly takes us to Oz and has become our go-to Ozian wear, no matter if we are podcasting from the comfort of our home or out and about at an Oz-themed event.
Check out the link in our show notes for more. 20% discount for new shoppers available.
The Oz Wiki does have a very long, nice sum up of Rain's backstory. Her full name is Oziandra Rainery Co. Oskami Throp. Known
Grande.
simply as
Grande.
Rain.
Butera.
Grande. Butera. Don't forget the Butera.
Tara.
She is the daughter of Lurthrop and Candle Aska Ami, born at the end of Son of a Witch, which does stand out in my memory of like her being
Alphabet
born
son.
and like this little bundle wrapped in the cloths, and
She's
then
green.
like wiping her down, and she's green.
You're green.
You're green. I know. And basically Candle leaves Rain behind for Lur to find, and that's when he cleans her up and she's green.
Yep.
And some other main highlights, and please feel free to chime in. There's a lot. But basically, Lur and Candle, they meet a serpent. Rain, it's decided that she's going to have her father's skin tone. So she's going to be more of like a pale skin tone.
Because the snake knows how to shed its skin, it sheds its
Yes.
green. So that's how, or I guess it would be a snake, not just a snake. But
Right.
Yeah, it charms her skin to be revealed,
Yeah.
to be like
Masked.
more pale,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
green, masked.
Yeah.
Yes. So she
And-
doesn't, because we're at a place in the culture, the climate of Oz, where if a green child was seen, she might not be.
oh, it's a
she might
dead
be harmed.
giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
we're not embracing alphabet at this moment.
No.
No. Lur gives Rain to Glinda to be taken care of for about 6 years. And Rain, once
Just
she's...
wants to learn how to read. That's all I
Yeah.
remember.
She just wants
From
to learn
Commander
how to
Cherrystone.
read.
Who is
Yeah.
like the character of the Wicked Years, who's kind of this terrible figure.
Oh, such a
in all of their
Yes.
lives.
agent of destruction.
Yeah.
That really
Agent of
doesn't get
destruction.
highlighted as, like, I feel like outside of, like, the world or whatever. Like, everyone focuses on the wizard, but, like, Commander Cherrystone
these-
is not talked about a lot. But,
He's on the ground doing the
Yeah.
wizard's
He's doing it.
bidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she's around 7 or 8, that's when Cherrystone comes to Glinda's home, Mock Beggar Hall, and that he makes it a base against the Munchkin Landers. Rain is now
Big war.
working on like the staff there.
scullery maid.
She's a scullery
Yes.
maid, but then she's serving Glinda personally, and that's where she meets Cherrystone, and then he's tutoring her for the reading.
But she's a spy.
But
Like
then,
Glinda's
yeah.
like having her report back and stuff.
And then the Grimoire comes into play. She says it's alive. She makes that spell to call winter upon water to appear from within it.
And they get the Grimoire from the time clock dragon.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct?
Because the
They're in town.
clock of the time dragon comes to Mockbeggar Hall. They do their performance. Mr. Boss
Mm-hmm.
gives the book to Glinda. Glinda's like,
doesn't want
"What
it."
is this?" Or she's like, because she has not seen it yet. She does not have the Grimoire at the end of Wicked, or even Son of a Witch. She gets the broom, but not the Grimoire, I think.
I think she does, but
Because
she gives it
it's
right
a
up.
brief, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think she gives it right up because she doesn't really realize what it is.
Yeah.
And she's also really kind of fearful of it. She even says, I think, in Out of Oz, like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's actually kind of more the musical response because
Right.
Gregory probably put that in
She
intentionally.
can't read it because I believe the Grimoire
Yeah.
is written
She does.
in our language.
Yes.
It's written in Latin, which the Ozians wouldn't be able to read.
Wouldn't be reading.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wait,
Yep.
pause here. The magician man. Remember the magician man in
Yes.
Wicked Years who like, brings the book
Yes.
over?
Yeah.
Some people, I was listening to someone, like someone just kind of break down their thoughts on the Wicked Years books tied to Another Day, just to like listen to some other opinions. And they just so casually were like, yeah, so when like Merlin brought the Grimoire over, I was like, Merlin? I was like, what?
Who's Merlin?
Do we have any known entity of who that person is?
No.
It's just like a magician from
I
the
think
other
it's
world.
a magician. I do think
Does
I
he
was
have
like,
a
Merlin?
name?
I don't remember if Merlin is mentioned in reference to the Grimoire, as if
It
like he
feels
would have
like a
been like
Merlin
he
character.
would have been a practitioner of the Grimoire, because it sort of sounds like the Grimoire is from it is from our
From our
world,
world.
and then
And so is this amulet, I think, the Maracoor amulet. I think
don't
that's from our
remember.
world.
I would assume so. I don't
you
remember.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
know-
I my suspicions are it's from
But-
our world because it's a thing that brings, I think, a lot. It's like, it feels like a bomb.
Yeah.
It feels like
But
a
I-
radioactive bomb.
Yeah.
I do love how Maguire
Dangerous.
has the wizard going to Oz to get the Grimoire specifically because the founder of Theosophy is the one who tells him to go get it, which is the religion that Matilda and
Yeah.
Frank and Maud all, not religion, but like
Wow.
the spiritual
School of
practice
thought,
that they engaged in.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gregory knows. Gregory
knows.
knows,
Yeah.
baby.
So yeah, we still don't really know too much about like, okay, the Grimoire came from our world and it like has wreaked havoc
Yes.
in Oz.
Yes.
But it is very powerful, and it's
Yeah.
like whose hands it is in is very, very important. And this
Yeah.
is like when they get this is like I guess Rain's first contact with the Grimoire.
Yes.
This is when she
Yes.
flies a dragon, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is when she basically traps Cherrystone's dragons.
Khaleesi.
She freezes the rest water. She travels with the clock, with the time clock dragon company.
Right. She loves the lion.
Yeah,
Yes.
Burr and Eleonora. But Mr. Boss doesn't like her.
Nor.
He's the company's leader.
Nor.
He doesn't like children.
Auntie Nor.
Yeah.
Auntie Nora is the best. That's a whole
Yeah.
other thing. We definitely break these books down if anyone's curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very
Break them
quick
down.
overview. Later on, she is reunited with her parents. It's kind of like a weird reunion because she hasn't known them, and that's where she meets
like them.
Iscanary. But at first, they don't like each other.
He's the familiar of Lear.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like his black cat.
Yes. So they settle in the Vincus, and she lives there for a few years. It comes to an end one day when Iscanary informs Lear about the bounty out for the Grimoire and the possibility of the Emperor wanting to find Rain. And that's when the family
Because he's already done
separates.
so much with like he has one torn page of the Grimoire.
Yeah.
And he's already done so much
Havoc.
hell with that one page.
Yeah.
It's like imagine if he gets the whole book.
Yeah. Oh, and this is where she goes to St. Proud's. And now she's known as Rainery Co. And she befriends a scullery maid named Scarly.
This is the little princess.
Yeah, the little
chapter.
princess.
And she's like living in the
section.
attic.
She's in the attic. There's like a whole event that happens at the Lurleen Moss banquet, and she's punished, and she has to go to the cellar room. And then, very big plot point which connects us to this book, she meets Tip. A
Yes.
boy who comes through her wardrobe, and they befriend each other, and
Yes, he does.
he lives in her room.
Yeah. As one does.
As one does. She becomes friends
That's how
with
I met my first boyfriend.
Yeah, 100. That's what happens, you know. Her time at St. Proud's comes to an end when the Munchkinlanders. There's rumor they may attack Shiz and they may have the Grimoire. She tries to warn the school's leader, Ironish Clap, and then she's
Not
locked.
Shiz. Her school that she's at now. She's not at Shiz, right?
No, it's Shiz,
Or
but
Prouds.
St. Proud's is in the
Prouds,
town
okay.
that Shiz is, which is also
Yes.
called
Okay,
Shiz.
okay. It's
Yeah.
like the preparatory school for
Yeah,
Shiz.
they're in like the prep school.
Because
Yeah,
Miss Fanny and Shen Shen are teachers
right.
there.
they're
We find
teachers.
out.
That's right.
They're
That's
getting
right.
that check, cash that check. But Tip knows
Well,
that
I
this
hope
is
they
going.
pay better there than here.
We'll see. We'll ask.
For teachers?
Shiz professors. Tip knows that this is all going to happen and frees Rain, and then the two of them leave together. And that's when they go to Kiamako. Lear and the Grimoire were captured in a raid. Eleonora dies after falling off a cliff. And then this is where Rain meets Nanny and Chistery at Kiamako. And Nanny's like, hey, you are the one. You are the Harry Potter. You're meant to save everything. Kiamako belongs to you. And then Tip leaves Kiamako to investigate Mombi's involvement in Lear's capture. And that's when Rain decides to go to the Emerald City to go up to the Emperor. Burr, Little Daffy, Mr. Boss, Dorothy, they're all there.
She also has like a little, doesn't she have an otter?
There's an otter. I think this is coming
Yes,
up.
the rice otter. That's when they're in
Yes.
Like,
Quadling.
stays-
That's when they're in Quadling country.
Yes.
Right. And that rice otter is like very much her Toto. Everyone has like
Yeah.
a pet.
A little
it's
pet.
very sweet. But the rice otter, I think at the end stays with Tip, which is quite a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slash Ozma.
Dorothy and
Haven't gotten
Rain
it yet.
see the Emperor. Shell is there. Obviously, he ignores Rain and is only focusing on Dorothy because they are
Rain
That's
is just a
her-
great niece.
great niece. I was like, what's this
They're related.
connection? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mombi
Shell
and the
is the
dragons
Emperor.
come. Mombi and her dragons. The Osmists are there. Candle arrives. There's 5 days of assault. Mombi enters the city. Tip and Lear are there. Burr arranges for Mombi to release Lear.
So the main points are getting Lear to be freed because he's
Because
been
he
battling.
Yes, he's
is
been
transformed
imprisoned.
into he's been in prison, but he's also been transformed
He's
into an
transformed
elephant.
elephant.
And
Yes.
I believe
Lear's trapped in the body of an elephant, yeah.
he's trapped in the body of an elephant. They make
been
Mombi transform him back into a human, so she does the spell to like call things forward.
To call the lost
which
forward.
then inadvertently transforms
things.
Tip back into Ozma, because Mombi doesn't know that Tip is in the theater that they're in, because him and Rain are having relations up in a box.
Yeah, they have sex!
Yeah.
They boom boom.
They
Rain
boom boom.
and Tip.
Yeah,
They're
just
like
imagine
15, that makes sense.
just imagine your first time happening, and all of a sudden your partner changes genders, and then
Right in
you
front of
also
you. And your dad's
your
like an
skin tone also
elephant.
changes, and your
Your
dad's
skin
an elephant.
changes.
Who am I?
This can only happen in Maguire's world.
Right, where you're like, yeah, this feels right. And so then Rain and Ozma now, used to be Tip, is still Tip Ozma. They basically end their relationship. Rain meets up with
They're
Glinda.
just like unsure what to do.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable.
Yeah. They're like, we need to
Which
move on.
obviously-
You're the Queen of Oz. I'm the granddaughter of the Wicked Witch of the West. Like, I don't know if we can make this work right
Can
now.
I love you in a female body? Like,
Yeah.
there's so
There's
many
a lot,
things.
yeah, and they're so young at this point.
They're like-
this is a lot for them to like.
They feel like sophomores, juniors. Like that's what they feel like to me. Like,
Well, because I think
18?
Tip is squarely like 16. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's like firmly set in there, and then Rain is also like 17, 18 by
okay.
the end of Out of Oz, and
Right.
like in this as
Brides
well.
of
So she
Maracoor.
is like, I think for comfort's sake, I want to say she's 18, but she probably is like
16,
17.
17. Yeah.
And Tip is also like ancient though.
Well,
right?
Tip has been enchanted literally
For very
since Alphaba was 2, and I think at this point we're like 60,
Oh my
70
gosh.
years on.
So their age difference.
It's like Tuck Everlasting.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, like
Because I
stuck
think
in
it's
an
the
age.
enchantment that kept him young, and
right.
Yes.
Mombi learned how to change her appearance by going across to
Yeah.
Ev
Yes.
and
Okay.
who would be Languideer, which is the Return to Oz call out.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Rain meets up with Glinda, and some of her early childhood memories are recovered. Rain then later on lets Glinda out of South Stairs. After that, Rain uses the Grimmery to send Dorothy back home and returns with her parents to Netherhow. And then they settle back at Netherhow, but after a year, Candle leaves. Rain buries the Grimmery, marking the spot with Elphaba's broom, which then sprouts a tree of magic brooms, which I love. And she's basically waiting to hear from Ozma. Then she speaks to the serpent who had, back in the day, placed that spell on her for her skin. And basically is like, okay, Ozma's never going to talk to me or like reach back out to me. So she kind of is like, that's done. I've given
just
up
like,
hope.
I can't wait anymore.
Yeah, I can't
need
wait
to,
any
like, live my
longer.
life.
And this is where she takes the Grimmery and a broom. It just says a broom. She flies away across the deserts. At one point, she becomes dehydrated from the desert heat. She passes out. Iscanary finds her, and then they continue on. They arrive at the sea. Rain then takes off on her own again with the plan of abandoning the book in the sea and
people don't think
continuing
exists
on
in Oz.
until she's
Yes.
sure she's out of Oz. And that's where we last saw her.
Yeah.
So she's had a pretty busy life.
She's been
a
through.
lot. I was like, yeah, we'll quickly sum this up. It's like, no, she's done a lot. in
She's
these
been
books.
through. Which,
And
again,
she don't remember it now.
yeah, which I think again like is important to recognize. Like, this is why like she's like debating like, do I want to remember my old life at this point? Like, maybe I was
Yeah.
meant to forget this. Maybe, and this is like
Yes.
this is I think
That's
where
fair.
a lot of us fall. Like, we don't want to necessarily
I don't want to think about it
remember
anymore.
the terrible things, and if we get hit with amnesia and we don't recall, that's why like Iscanari is like not like just telling her everything. Like, she's kind of
Yes.
resisting this, and he's also like, I don't
smart.
want to like trigger like a mental breakdown here. Like, I'm not just gonna
Be like, hey,
spill
girl, here's what
everything.
happened.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I think most would trigger them.
That's why I love Iscanary, because he's not just
Yeah.
like, hey, girl, get it together. He's like
smart.
actually thinking about her, cares for her.
The end game. He's
Yeah.
not like, he's not trying to speed up the process,
No.
I guess, essentially. And we all need people in our lives who are not trying to speed up anything. Because again, I think life
Yeah.
moves slower sometimes than we want it to. I also love that she does have a moment like, what's so bad about being here on this island with
Right.
these women? I kind of know what I have to do every single day. Like, that's the thing.
My
Like,
life was disordered, now it's ordered.
100%. We talked, I think we really went to town in Son of a Witch with how Lear really needed to, even though he was probably the worst version of himself. This is her father, Lear. When he was in the army, like when he was in his like military time, in his section of his life, it gave this kid who like never had anyone kind of guiding him some order.
A lot of people,
And
that's
he like,
why they go to things like
yes,
this.
and I remember there's an image of him like when he doesn't know what to do later after he's served in the army, he at least like just cleans up Kiyomiko. He makes it look acceptable because that's like what he was trained to do.
Yeah.
Like
Make your
chores,
bed.
get stuff done. Yes. And I was like, there is something to this. Like there is something to just like
I
your
know
body
what's
moves.
expected of me.
Yeah, you don't just like
like,
languish in
the
thought sometimes.
routine.
'Cause that's terrible
Well,
sometimes too,
and I
you know?
think it's just, I think as much as we like obviously love to focus on like Alphaba, like Lear and Rain, like they are really trying to undo a lot of generational harm. That kind of starts with
That's the whole
Frex and Melina
story.
because
Yes.
you have Frex uprooting his family when Alphaba is still like a toddler and he's uprooting her, and then newborn Nessa, who like obviously has a lot of needs because of her disability, like he uproots his family and like relocates them to the Quadling country. And we see this a lot in Alfie, the prequel novel that Maguire wrote for Wicked, or I guess midquel because it takes place kind of during Wicked, but it's her childhood years. Frex really creates this unstable like environment for his growing children, and they kind of get used to like living in chaos and being on the move and going, and Alphaba just kind of carries that on into her adult life. Like even when she's at Kiyomiko, like she doesn't really ever get settled. Like she like the castle is in disarray, she's in her attic, like she's like, it's not a very like
It contributes to her mental
instability towards the end.
Yes.
unease.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think order, because if we could put order in our physical life, it does make the internal
It's a great
mind
first
life.
step.
Oh yeah. Clean your room and
Yeah.
you feel like you're ready to
Clean
take
your
on
room, space
the next
opens
problem.
up in your brain.
Yes.
Yes.
So
It's like you're opening up windows inside
Yeah.
as well.
Lear does it, like Lear is undoing it when he joins the military. He finally starts to get a little bit of stability, but obviously that stability is disrupted because of who he is. Rain also grows up.
They can't stand for injustice, these people.
No, but I would say that
That's
like
what they inherited for grandmama.
exactly.
Yes.
And then Rain almost gets, I think she gets a little bit more stability because she's at Glinda's for a long time. Like she's at Glinda's for
Couple years,
probably the
multiple years.
multiple years. I think she's brought like as a toddler, and she's there till she's about like 7, 8, 9.
I think 7.
Not really interacted with, and she's not ever with other children.
No, she's still
Glinda.
neglected, but like
Yeah. Glinda
like she's still
tries
neglected,
towards
but
the
she has like a stability of location. But then she does go to school, and she does, but still like very unstable. Like so again, that's why I love Maguire's characters, and he really does a good job of like the generational trauma of the Throp family, because you see this family making the same mistakes again and again.
It's like this
and
could be Alphaba right here.
Yeah. Are we ever going to get a book in which the Throps don't
Thrive?
end up unconscious or like have things like that
God.
just get into these
Amnesia.
situations?
Gregory shared that I think a child, like not a child, like a teen who has read The Wicked Years, after he was done, was like, "Can you now write the happy years?"
Oh my, the
That'll
happy
never
years.
sell.
Gregory's like, absolutely not.
No, he's like, "We're complex."
That's such a big part of this book, though, is like everything.
I feel so much hope
and
in this
even
book, though.
without her memories, like Rain is just dropped in and has to figure out this mess that has been passed down to her and everything that's happened
But she
with her
feels
ancestors,
maternal.
as well as the brides.
She
The
takes
brides were
Arcasi
brought
pretty
to
quick.
this island as babies, as kids, so they don't really
No
have
choice.
agency.
No choice.
Lucicles, his family's been doing this job for years and years and years, and that affects his son. Like, it's just this trickle down effect. Doesn't matter the year we're in, and that's why it's like this could be present day, this could be ancient Greece, and we're still dealing with like the same internal dynamics from our families.
And I think that's why there's a lot of, like, again, like, one of the major themes in this book for me is definitely the idea of choice versus fate and destiny. Because you have, even, like, in the debate between Mirka and Helia, like, Mirka is very adamant about, like, no, like, this is what we've always done. This is how it has to be. This is set in stone. We can't change it. Which is ironic because they're the ones who are supposedly weaving together time in their rituals.
Yes.
But then you have Helia who's like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. We can choose differently, which goes back to Wicked.
Trying to find some choice in what they've been handed.
What they have to do.
Yeah.
Which goes back to Wicked because, again, like, there's the quote that it might be Princess Nastoya who says it, but it's one of my favorites. It's the nothing is written in the stars, not these stars or any others. No one controls your destiny, even at the very worst there's choice.
Is it written in the stars?
Yes, Aida.
Are we paying for some crime?
I thought about Aida because of the research I did with the what are they?
The Vestal
Virgins?
Can I talk about them?
Talk about the Vestal
them.
Virgins.
Can I talk about the Vestal Virgins?
What's happening there?
Okay. So, and I literally was thinking of Aida last night because there is something that directly connects to Aida with this. Okay, so I had seen in a couple book reviews, like, the comparison of the brides to Vestal Virgins, and I was like, well, what's a Vestal Virgin? I don't know what that is. I would like to know. So I don't think Gregory has spoke on this. It's been mostly, like, picked up in interviews, so we'll jot this down as something maybe to ask him, because I don't think it's anything he's actually talked about, but a lot of people are making the connection. These are women who had a very similar, real women, a very similar sacrificial, secluded, and devotional role in Roman culture, heavily influenced by classical history and mythology. And here are how, like, this is just a little overview of how the Brides of Maracoor reflect what they did. And I'm going to also bring up this article I read that's insane. Okay, so the Vestal Virgin influence. The brides are depicted as a community of 7 single women living on a remote island, bearing a strong resemblance to these Vestal Virgins of Roman mythology, as noted by critics. Like their historical counterparts, they are removed from society to maintain a sacred yet restrictive duty. So they're like almost like priestesses, you know?
Yeah.
And then the sacrifice of seclusion, that's another quality. The brides are foundlings brought to the island of Maracoor spot as infants, effectively sacrificing their potential lives on the mainland for a cloistered existence. They have no contact with the outside world except for one male civil servant overseer, creating a flagellant community of quasi-nuns. Physical sacrifice and ritual. This is what uneased me from the start. Every morning, the brides perform a ritualistic physical sacrifice. They cut the soles of their feet. And it's like Cassie can barely get through it. Like
I could barely
and that's what's
read
hard.
it.
You're watching the littlest one go through it, and it's
because her
just
feet
like
aren't
so...
calloused yet. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's
the older
all
ones whose
fresh.
feet just
The older
become
ones kind of are used to it at this point.
Yeah.
I love that
But they
Rain
were
is like,
once
I will
Cassie.
not be doing this.
Yes,
She's
I
like,
mean, dear
absolutely
God.
not.
Dear God. Okay, and then they let them sting, like the cuts sting in the salt water while they do this weaving of the kelp. It's meant to shape time, this practice, maintain the world.
Yes.
And it's an imprisonment by duty. Gregory has stated that they represent a crime penetrated against all of those women. They're imprisoned without their consent, deprived of a normal life to serve a purpose they only partially understand. That's massive.
They
No
barely
one
know
understands
what
anything.
they're doing and why they're doing it and what
No.
they're
You
protecting
have to
and
ask
what's
yourself-
the key unlock, you know.
Right.
They don't even know why there's 7 of them. Like
No,
they say
they're
it's
just like,
oh,
this
is
is
it
what
'cause
it
there's-
is.
Is it there's 7 days in the week? Is it just because only 7 brides can fit on the bottom step of the like salt pool? Basically, it's like
It's wild.
No, it's a random number. It's arbitrary.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is protection against barrenness. While the brides believe their devotion is purely religious, their true purpose is to act as guardians. They're watching over this fist of Mara, which feels like some sort of like radioactive, like, you know, like World War II, like there was, you know, like being around. It's kind of, what am I thinking of? It's not Chernobyl, but it's like, yeah, I
Oh,
guess it is. Like
kind of like atomic bomb type thing. Like it's almost
yeah,
like it's
like
a
something
weapon.
that has like
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
gives off things that are so harmful and poisonous
Radioactive.
to be around.
Yeah.
Radio
Yes,
waves.
like it feels like something that has that kind of feeling. So it makes anything in the surrounding area barren.
wild.
And this places them in a sacrificial role to protect the mainland from ecological, magical ruin. And this is all from The Reactor. I'm taking that from an article in the Reactor. Oh, here's the line though, y'all. The Brides of Maracoor represent the burdens of tradition and the way men in power create myths to restrict women.
Woo!
Woohoo! And then here's a little bit about the Vestals. I'll try to fly through this because it's just so fascinating. They were 6 sacred priestesses of the goddess Vesta in ancient Rome, responsible for maintaining the internal sacred fire, which was believed to guarantee the city's safety and prosperity. So they just had to keep fanning a flame. Chosen as young girls, ages 6 to 10, from noble families, they took a 30-year vow of celibacy and were highly revered. Yet faced brutal punishment, Aida style, which included being buried alive, if their vow was ever broken. And there is history report. I read an article by Madeline Warner in the Medium called Buried Alive: What Happened When a Vestal Virgin Broke Her Oath of Chastity in Ancient Rome. This article is fascinating. We will link it. And she's researching because she's writing a piece about a Vestal Virgin. So she shares what she learns in that. I'll share a little bit from there in a second. But here's just some key roles about their responsibilities. They maintained the sacred fire in the Temple of Vesta. They had various rituals. They drew water from a sacred spring. They maintained the sacred fire. And they prepared mola salsa, a mix of flour and salt for sacrifices. They had a 30-year term. At least it wasn't their whole life. 10 years for learning, 10 years for performing duties, and 10 years for teaching. After 30 years, they were allowed to leave and marry, although most did not. Privileges. They enjoyed immense power and an influence compared to other Roman women because they weren't property. They were viewed as like deities. They got to make their own wills and they got to even vote. They were not under the guardianship of a father or husband, but if they did choose to marry once they were done, bye-bye property. Punishment. The chastity of the Vestals was paramount. A violation, and this is all from an article from The Conversation, just sharing that. A violation of their vow of celibacy was seen as an act of treason that directly threatened Rome's safety. So yeah, blame the fucking safety of a city on women.
Right. It's like, this is your fault. This is your responsibility.
Resulting in the punishment of being buried alive in an underground chamber. Oh, that's what would happen. So here's what the Buried Alive article, it's kind of like, oh, like a fleet has arrived and attacked our shore. It must be because a virgin slept with someone. Let's kill her.
Yes. It's an easy scapegoat. It's an easy, like, well, it's their fault.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And it also says here, like, the article calls them the cult of the Vestals in moments, because it is very much
what
that.
It feels like.
It was central to Roman religion and state power. It lasted over 1,000 years. Like, did my ancestors do this? That's what I asked myself immediately. I was like, do I have an Vestal Virgin? Because probably I'm Italian, maybe. And like I always say, I talk about this all the time because I did get a diagnosis of generational trauma. And I'm like, I feel this stuff. Like I feel the limitations that have been placed on the women in my lineage. And I'm doing my best to break them. But it ain't easy. But anyways, we'll just link this article because I want to save us time. Buried Alive, that one we'll link in here, but it is phenomenal. Look at like why this happened. And it's just also like, I think this year of 2026, I'm just reminded that women being controlled by men is just always the narrative. It's always the narrative. And it's been normalized. Even the women normalized it, because it's like, what else are you to do? Follow the traditions. Oh my gosh. The gods will cry rain down on me if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. But who said you're supposed to do it?
That was what was so fascinating to me, and some of my favorite conversations were the ones between the brides and hearing all their different opinions of some who were like, this is just what we do and it's an honor to scrape our feet and like you just don't get it. And then other people being like, this is wrong and why am I doing this? And they talk about death a lot and death being a beautiful thing and death being something you can't control. Like all these conversations were incredible.
Can I bring up one last little thing. It might come up as we talk. I have fallen down off on the side of the podcast a Sarah Polley rabbit hole. If you don't know who she is, she was a childhood icon of mine. She played Sarah Stanley on The Road to Avonlea, a hit Canadian show spinoff of Anne of Green Gables. But that's not even like, okay, I didn't know that she had like this crazy career after. And because of my relationship with Pod Squad member Derek, and we just talk about everything and anything under the sun, and he loves Road to Avonlea, and we were rewatching it right now. He's like, didn't you know like Sarah Polley's like an Academy Award winner? And I was like, huh? She's still doing this? I read her whole entire memoir like in a fever. Her memoir is incredible. She directed and wrote Women Talking, which stars Jessie Buckley, a recent Academy Award winner. Cool. All these fierce women, Rooney Mara, freaking Claire Foy, the queen from The Crown. But this movie, guys, I'm getting chills all over my body. I watched the movie. I don't even know if I could read the book. This reminded me, the Brides of Maracoor talking reminded me of Women Talking. It is about a Mennonite community. This actually happened. I can't say it. It's so awful. It's so awful. Men had been raping young girls. I'm going to cry. Young girls and women for almost like a decade. And the women believed it was gods like punishing them because that's how manipulated these women were. So that's like where you start the story with. They don't get into that. The movie and the book is about like this fictionalized, like, what if these women had 3 days without the men to decide their future? And holy God, can I not recommend this movie more? And it's this. It's like women who are like, but wait, what about our husbands who have abused them their whole lives, but they still care about them? And they're like, Claire Foy is ready to burn everyone to the ground. She's ready to murder. Her 3-year-old daughter was raped. She's ready to murder for her daughter. And it's just like, women have been through so much. Like, it's, there's nothing more to say.
Yeah.
But what's so beautiful about this movie, because obviously there's disagreements, obviously they have to come to a conclusion, they have a time crunch to figure out what are they going to do, and they leave this world. And it just makes me think of these brides.
It's very
they get
similar.
choice finally.
Yeah. What's the name of the movie?
Women Talking.
Women Talking.
And freaking Mark Wahlberg, when he like announced them at the Academy Awards, was like, women are talking. Like, know the title.
Learn the
Wahlberg.
title.
Learn the title. Basic things you can do as a man. Anyways.
No, thank you for sharing
well, it's really
that.
heavy, but like...
But it's relevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant. And this actually happened to this Mennonite community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Caused an uproar. All those men are in jail. Praise be. As they should be and like never seen again. They should never be seen again.
Yeah. If only that would happen in our country.
But it's interesting.
It didn't happen here. It wasn't here. It was a Mennonite community.
No, if only like men who abused
if only
women
men
and
would actually be
children
held accountable.
were going to prison.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the brides.
Now we're in a war instead.
But like that differing conversations that are happening, like even Tara, what you're mentioning, that's happening in Women Talking, and the conversations between the brides. Like, I think that just shows like there are various ways that people like cognitively adapt to what's going on around them and how they can derive meaning and make sense of things. And that's completely based on like who you are as a person. That's based on your experiences. Survival. It's based on survival. It's like, what is going to keep me alive, and how can I contextualize this? And that's, again, that's trauma recovery, is relearning whatever, like, it's great that you survived. At the same time, how you survived may no longer be relevant or helpful in the world that you're in now, or in the space that you're in now. And so there is like, you're essentially having to be willing to let down the defense mechanisms. You have to be willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. With the brides, like if they were to decide to leave, they would have to sit with like the discomfort of like, I'm a woman in my 50s. I'm thinking of like Bray and Tyr, and Bray is like,
oh my God.
I feel like Bray is very heavily
and the
implied.
OCD cleaning one. I love her.
Cleompty, yes. Like, I think of Bray, who like very much gives like neurodivergent vibes. Like, she does not, like, she feels very neurodivergent. Like, so like she's a woman in her 50s who literally she has a limited skill set. Like, she could go out, but like, what's she gonna do?
They felt that even when they were out in the city.
Yeah.
They were like, whoa, we're overwhelmed. What do we do? Just like sitting there, because they've never even seen, especially when Cassie sees lyrics. She's like,
Yeah.
I've never seen
a boy.
a man outside, or a
Right,
boy
which is
even. I've
fascinating.
never seen a
little
guy
man.
outside of
In
She's never seen a relative.
a little man.
People who are
she's never
related
seen
to each
people who are
other.
related. Yeah.
parent,
Like,
a parent. That
so
conversation they have
if
about like
you're
what is a
gonna
parent.
break out and go off on your own, it's not just like, yeah, I'm free. It's like you still have an uphill battle to figure
Which is
out.
why a lot of people end up staying. Same with, again, cults, same
Right.
with abusive relationships. It's
Right.
just, this is what I know. And
Especially if you know
I'd rather
no
stick with the
knowledge.
devil
People
I
you
know than the devil
yeah,
I
the devil
don't.
you know.
you don't have your education. Like the women in
Right.
Women Talking, they have one man who's a good man in their community who's with them, and he writes everything down to record that they were there. They can't read it.
Yep.
To vote in this, they drew a picture. One of the girls drew pictures, and they just put tallies underneath the pictures to make their votes because they don't read. And what is so alarming in this movie, it's kind of like The Village, M. Night Shyamalan, when you think you're
yes.
like in an olden time. What's so alarming is it's 2007, and it looks like it's like, 04. So there's a moment when the census is being conducted in 2010, I think it is. The 2010 census is happening, so a car is coming through, and they're just all like looking at this Jeep that's like riding through. It's
Wow.
beyond.
It's wild.
But yeah, but
But-
like this is again like the education being withheld to.
Education is
Like, that's
power,
what's-
knowledge is power. So
That's
you withhold
that's
it.
why do you think our government right now is doing everything they can to make education more like more and more
expensive.
inaccessible
Yeah,
and more
inaccessible.
incorrect
Well-
and just a whitewash of our country, its history. Christopher
And-
Columbus statue was just put in the freaking White House
Yep.
like a day ago. Welcome back.
Ta-ta.
What I found interesting too about specifically this, like, again, spiritual system in Maracoor is that it's very different from a lot of like religions in our world that have like sort of an assumed male deity at its center. The Great Mara is female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is a society that is worshiping a female deity as like their main deity. But men are still
Yep.
doing these terrible
Using
things
it.
to women.
Yeah. That almost makes it more terrifying.
It is, because it's just, it's, I'd be very curious, like, how in that world that developed or whatever, or how that ended up coming about. And I don't know if it was, like, I'd be curious to know, again, like, the early origins of that.
Yeah.
Because you do have these men who are running the show who are very devoted to these institutions and to these systems. And I drew, like, in my mind, like, as I was reading it, like, Lucycles reminded me a lot of Frex from Wicked because of that. Because
Yeah, very
we
similar.
kind of have these two, like, very, like,
Pious.
pious, devoted men who are
Devoted.
also very incompetent in a lot of ways, who really, like, outside of,
great
like,
at
what
his
they
job.
do, they don't really know what they're doing. And they're both kind of not really good at their job. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
Disconnect with their kids.
Well, they are good at their job, but they're not good at being humans.
Yeah.
He's okay at his job.
I think they're great at their job, actually.
Well,
Like, they
Lucycles
do-
never gets promoted
like,
because
he-
his superiors don't trust him enough. So that
Yeah.
also tells me that he's very,
and
like...
he went on vacation, even though it was like,
middling.
my family was
yeah, my family...
escaping this crisis.
To just give Lucycles something before we dive in, like, I will give him that he starts to question things.
He does. That's
Like,
his
obviously.
At
goal.
least he's not a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely
No.
not a
No,
villain.
he's not a villain. He honestly is just a pawn.
Yeah.
And we see him questioning. I mean, obviously, yeah, he cheats on his wife when he goes out. But even that, he's like, well, he kind of like, he does have a conscience. It's not like he's just like, whatever, I slept with, I don't care. Like, we are let into the decisions that he's making. And even
Yeah.
when he meets Rain, like, what should I do? Should I leave her there? Should I go back?
He thought
I'm
she was
freaking out. Like,
A beautiful omen at first.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
thought she was like divine.
but it's kind of
Yeah.
like, you need to be a little, take some action. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read us two quick quotes from two reviews, and then let's kick it off. So, from Reactor, The Brides of Maracoor feels eerily familiar, a story steeped in classics, full of names that echo or borrow from Greek mythology, as we said, and with a mythology of its own that's just sideways from what we know. It sometimes calls to mind Circe, exiled on her island,
Yes.
but at least she knew why she was there.
Mm-hmm.
Maracoor abiding is somewhere between our world and Oz, a little bit of both, where birds might look like tiny witches and mysterious roars echo across an island. But men handily ruin women's lives without hardly thinking about it, creating structures and myths that maintain their own power. Woo! Woo! And then Kirkus
I
reviews.
love that review.
Maguire's longtime fans, that's a good review. Maguire's longtime fans will remember Rain from Out of Oz, but even newcomers will instantly connect the dots between her green skin and her broom. And if that's not enough, there are those odd rumors of flying monkeys looking for a green girl. Maguire is setting up for a spin-off trilogy here, and the obviousness of Rain's origins for readers new and old alike allows him to spend more time fully creating the world of Maracoor Abiding with wonderful attention to detail. And they say it builds momentum for book 2, excellent character work, power struggles among the brides. They have this strange task of weaving time. The larger world of Maracoor Abiding with its priestess-like brides, mysterious artifacts, and its own systems of magic, myth, and politics has echoes of Greek mythology and looks to be fertile ground as a setting for more books. Well said.
Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of this episode. Stay tuned for part 2 dropping this Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening to Down the Yellow Brick Pod. We love linking arms and skipping with listeners like you.
A special thank you to our Patreon Pod Squad members who have become our Found Oz fam all across the globe. If you'd like to join, follow the link in show notes for more info.
Again, you can catch us on the socials and on Etsy serving up some merch, all linked in show notes below.
And lastly, if you are feeling the pod and looking for a free way to support us, consider leaving us an Apple rate and review. Each Apple review also equals an entry into our full-out, no marking, end of the season giveaway, fit for any level Oz fan.
As always, all previous reviews will also be considered in our entries. If you've been with us since 2020, oh, we see you.
Thank you, Ozians. We'll see you over the rainbow soon.
In a clock tick.